in here. One more reaction video, ladies and gentlemen. And I got Mr. R.W. Welch Jr. coming to the channel with a speech from 1958. And man, I really love history because the more I learn I have a lot to learn. And I'm making this video to share what I learned with y'all. Bars! If this is your first time to the channel, get on in here, park the whip, take your shoes off, get comfortable. As I love to say, we are simply spirits encased in human flesh. That's all I promise. We just inside these bodies trying to figure out this thing called life, not nearly as divided nor as demonic as the mainstream media and these social media algorithms try to make it seem every single day. And I think we can all agree that everybody and their mama is trying to get enlightened and keep learning in this thing called life. So if you dig what you hear in this video, do me a favor, share it far and wide, baby.
A part of that plan, of course, is to induce the gradual surrender of American sovereignty, piece by piece and step by step, to various international organizations, of which the United Nations is the outstanding but far from the only example. Here are the aims for the United States. 1, greatly expanded government spending for every conceivable means of getting rid of ever larger sums of American money as wastefully as possible. 2, higher and then much higher taxes. 3, an increasingly unbalanced budget despite the higher taxes. 4, wild inflation of our currency.
1958, y'all.
5, government controls of prices, wages, and materials, supposedly to combat inflation. 6, greatly increased socialistic controls over every operation of our economy and every activity of our daily lives. This is to be accompanied naturally and automatically by a correspondingly huge increase in the size of our bureaucracy and in both the cost and reach of our domestic government. 7, far more centralization of power in Washington and the practical elimination of our state lines. There is a many-faceted drive at work to have our state lines eventually mean no more within the nation than our county lines do now within the states. 8, the steady advance of federal aid to and control over our educational system, leading to complete federalization of our public education. 9, a constant hammering into the American consciousness of the horror of modern warfare, the beauties and the absolute necessity of peace. Peace always on communist terms, of course. And 10, the consequent willingness of the American people to allow the steps of appeasement by our government which amount to a piecemeal surrender of the rest of the free world and of the United States itself.
Now, I have a question. One, how did he know exactly where we would be at in 2024? 2, how did so many people turn a blind eye to it back in the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, all the way up to now and didn't pay any attention to the communist takeover that was happening in America? Because it seems kind of odd how this was able to happen, like not overnight, but in a sense right under everyone's nose. I've read the Communist Manifesto by Karl Marx. I've read Nietzsche and the Nazis by Stephen Hicks. I've read Colored Communism and Common Sense by Manning Johnson, and I've also listened to his farewell speech. And I've also read The Miseducation of the Negro by Carter G. Woodson. And I didn't even know that that was considered an anti-communist book until I actually Googled best communist books. And I seen The Miseducation of the Negro was there, and it's crazy. Because all of this goes directly against the civil rights movement. Like Manning Johnson said that we shouldn't sign the civil rights bill because that was going to put America in slavery as a whole. So let me know in the comments below, how did half of the black Americans and the white Americans were able to see through this back in the day as we are here in 2024, and the rest of them are asleep to the propaganda? Because it's extremely confusing to me. And like I said, man, the more I learn I have a lot to learn. And Frederick Douglass said, knowledge makes a man unfit to be a slave, and ignorance is a lack of knowledge. So I'm just trying to continue to enlighten myself in this thing called life. the solutions. Let's hear them.
Dust out of your eyes, my friends, and the communist soap suds out of your brain, and ask yourselves in all honesty, what on earth is wrong with the United States simply minding its own business?
Does that not sound like something that's going on in 2024 right now? I think it's Mark Twain that said history doesn't repeat itself, but it often rhymes. And why is that? Why do we keep going through the same scenarios every 20 years? Like I said, if you go look at, the election of 2000 and 2004 and 2008 and 2012 and 2016 and 2020, it was the same narrative over and over and over again. And it's how do we keep getting bamboozled? Malcolm X talked about that in the Ballad of the Bullet in 1964. Like all this information is available to the public where we all can see it, hear it, learn it. Yet the masses of people are still sleepwalking. Let me know in the comments why y'all think that is.
Or with having its foreign policy function primarily for the safety and benefit of the American people. Which is exactly what we had done for the first 140 years of our existence as a nation, to the incredible advantage of ourselves and everybody else. We turn to a very brief summarization of what we hope the John Birch Society will help and even sometimes lead the American people to accomplish during the next 15 years. One, our first and most important specific undertaking should be to restore the complete independence of the United States. This includes our resolution to get us out of the United Nations and get the United Nations out of the United States. Two, we must once again make our money freely redeemable in gold at some realistic price.
Hold on. I thought American money wasn't took off gold until Nixon in the 70s. Let me look that up real quick because he's talking about that in the 50s. When being backed by gold. Yeah, it says in August 1971, Nixon served. Yeah, that's what I thought. So hold on, bro, talking about this in the 50s, unless some years jumped or something. Y'all can let me know in the comments below. But yeah, I don't see America going back to the gold standard, especially not in 2024. But once again, it's wild how many years we've been having the same discussions and the same conversations.
And we must take all practicable legislative steps to prevent a recurrence of the enormous thievery and other subversive crimes that have been perpetrated on the American people through a contrived inflation by every president from Franklin Roosevelt through Richard Nixon.
Boy, if you can see what's going on right now.
Three, we should reduce the number of government bureaus, of government civilian employees, and the whole quantity of government by at least 50%.
Oh, would you be disappointed in 2024?
And we should achieve at least this much reduction in proper fashion through gradually convincing a majority of the American people of the wisdom of such a course. Four, we should withdraw all American troops from every spot on earth that is not American soil, except when and where such troops may be required as decided by Congress to protect American lives and property from criminal vandalism. Five,
and America has been funding 2 wars for the last, 4 years now, if I'm not mistaken. Meanwhile, homelessness is at an all-time high. I'm in Kansas City, Missouri right now, but the entire inner city looks terrible. Every block has two to 3 condemned houses. The entire side of town that used to be black is probably like 70% Hispanic now, which is like absolutely crazy. Let me know where you at watching this video and what's it looking like in your town.
5, we should get government out of the areas and functions and activities where government does not belong. Again,
Tell them.
Again, all steps to this end should be taken gradually, but nevertheless just as rapidly as enough of the American people can be persuaded to support such progress. Any such achievement will require a truly massive educational force, but that's exactly what we hope to build during the next 50 years.
All right. Now, yeah, this says 1958, so I don't know how you knew about the gold stuff that was coming, but I seen a stat that said since 2012 in America, most kids that graduate high school are atheists. And I'm not saying that you gotta believe in Christ. Like, I can't tell you what to do, but you have to believe in something bigger than yourself. Because the world wants to break you. It wants to give you a really, really traumatic life, and then it wants to throw a bunch of pleasure in your face and say, run to me for comfort or for safety. And running to that pleasure isn't going to do anything but bring you pain. And then once you have that pain in your life, you're going to look around for somebody to blame, and the world is going to give you somebody to blame. And while you pointing the finger at them, you slowly dying on the inside. And it seems like that's been happening since the beginning of time. So I'm not telling you who to vote for. I'm just telling you to step back and understand whenever you're on the side of the masses, it's time to pause and reflect. And for the first 25 years of my life, I thought I knew everything, and it turns out I didn't know anything. And here I am year after year learning more. And the world becomes your library when you figure out what you want to do and where you want to go. However, most of our social media keeps you boxed in where you truly don't think and don't question life and don't come up with new ideas. And if everybody's thinking the same, somebody isn't thinking. So I don't want you to watch my videos and walk away with my perspective. But I want you to develop your own perspective and make your own content and make your own videos and start studying and looking at things in this world from a different angle. Because that's how we evolve. That's how we grow. The whole point is to keep elevating in this thing called life. Read Psycho-Cybernetics by Maxwell Maltz. That's a really, really good book. Outwit and Devil by Napoleon Hill. As a Man Thinketh by James Allen. Like I said, Nietzsche and the Nazis by Stephen Hicks is a really, really a thought-provoking book. And then the Communist Manifesto as well. Conversations with God by Neil Donald Walsh. Because I don't know if you'll ever completely find truth in this world. I can just say peace on the inside seems like it's worth more than having $1 million or $1 billion, because most of those people still are broken and have anxiety and going crazy, and they put a gun to their own head and take their life. And I haven't reached the level of material success, but I can say I'm really peaceful because I've developed a spiritual connection and know this too shall pass. And you have to be calm in the storm, and I want to pass that energy on to you. So whatever you're going through, your current situation isn't your final destination. Psalms 91. That's all I can say. Whoever dwells in the shelter of the Most High, we safe. Yiddy! Thanks for watching the video. I look forward to consuming your art very, very, very soon. I look forward to pulling up at your restaurant, pulling up at your movie theater, whatever it is, man. Whatever you good at, I look forward to being your biggest fan. We outie. Peace.